welcome to Blackwood Podcast.
Morning, Wood.
Morning Wood, with me and Terry. Tonight we have a prolific goal scorer and well-known Welsh rugby player of our past, who was very kindly come across to Blackwood this evening. Lee Jarvis, welcome to the studio, sir.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in.
Bit of traffic coming up, but I got you.
I was thinking that myself, coming here. Actually, the valleys, there's so many like little roads and squeezing in and out of cars.
You're always late anyway.
Frustrating, but I appreciate your time.
No problem.
So what we'll do then, we'll go from the beginning, as we usually do with any guest we have. So from your childhood, Jav, when did it start? Man? Did you start in minis or was it youth rugby?
Yeah, well, obviously my sort of starting in rugby was from mini rugby, so I played with a side called Lantrid Vardra, because my local village side, Rydfelit, didn't have a side back then, so that's where I started. My rugby's, early rugby memories of obviously the festivals on a Sunday and my father taking me training and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed that time. And I was in a school called Kelin Primary School. We were lucky enough to have a really good rugby teacher, sort of rugby coach in Gareth Evans, Mr. Evans I call him. So I remember approaching him, asking him if I could play for the team. I think I was only about 7 or 8 and it was under 11s. I started with Mr. Evans, and it was great days. I think he taught me a lot in how to play the game, even at that age. And that's something I remember. And it's funny enough, I've seen him a couple of weeks ago in Tesco's and still called him Sir.
Yeah,
that's the respect.
That's great.
That's the respect I have for him, and he was great. And I think that's one of the problems in Welsh rugby at the moment is there's hardly any school rugby in primary schools, secondary schools.
My next question, really.
And, when I was in primary schools, we trained 2-3 times a week. We had 2-3 games a week. It's just having those people or those rugby people in those schools to develop that.
So there's nothing in schools now?
It is, but it's intermittent. It's not like it used to be, whereas, again, talk about participation, it's like everybody used to play, didn't they?
Yeah.
But the kids now are open so many sports, there's such a selection, they're not always choosing that. So school rugby isn't what it was.
So without that then, you think you'd have got into rugby anyway? I would have thought so. Do you think the school was a injector?
I think I'm very lucky, and I think a few of my generation are very lucky that we did have good primary school teachers, rugby coaches and secondary, and it's no disrespect to the ones doing that now. There's not a lot of them out there now, and I think that's where you fall in love with the game at that age, and definitely. I certainly did. And as I say, I went on from the primary school rugby then to my secondary school, which is Hawthorne High School, and lucky enough then to have a teacher, a rugby coach in Brian Lees, who's an ex-Newport flanker, I believe. But he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We were almost doing full-time training in school. We trained three times a week. We'd have weights, we'd have sprint sessions.
So he was doing that back then?
And he was even doing that back then, and he was brutal, school, PE lessons and rugby.
Yeah.
He improved you definitely, but he was also character building at some stage as well, and you either loved him or hated him, and I loved him, I did. So he taught me a lot. He did.
Yeah.
We had the same in Blackwood Comp. We had, lucky enough, we had Neil Robinson.
Oh yeah, he was a Eberville captain at the time.
Brilliant guy, absolutely.
So you're lucky to have him around, eh?
And we had Phil Villa, and honestly, we'd have the gym session, we had a multi-gym, and we'd have training 2 or 3 times. We only ever played 1 game a week.
Yeah.
I say we played 1 game a week. They'd regular get you to play up a year if you were short or what have you, but they just loved it, didn't they?
Because as a kid, like I said, with Rhondda Valleys, as I grown up, I remember that they were tough, and like I said, the upbringing you had there is a big part of your starting point and becoming the player you became.
Yeah, it was.
Giving you that discipline early on.
Listen, I think if my schools, my primary, my secondary schools were different, then I don't think I'd be sat here today, to be honest, because they give me, both of them give me sort of discipline and something to build on, and engrave something at an early age, and that I'm thankful for, and as I say, Brian, he was superb for me. He was just superb for a lot of kids coming through. You couldn't get away with the stuff you got away with back then.
No, you weren't. No.
Sadly enough, that makes you a man. That's what I'm worried about. It makes people better, doesn't it?
And we learned every day. And I remember one summer going away. I think I was about 15, and he's one of those PE teachers. He always wanted to win at this or win at that. Really competitive. and I had trained all summer, you know, done my, that's a fine that is.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine.
Was doing my weights, was doing my run, this was all on my own now in the summer.
Yeah.
In the back of my head thinking, right, I want to get back and I want to beat him at the runs, the sprints, the weights or whatever. And I think the first week back in school we had a cross-country run, you know, I beat him. And he's like, yes, he's looking, you know, you see he's angry. We gets in the gym and lifting weights, you know, I lifted more than him. And you see he's getting wound up with this, like, and we'd done something else. So I had just gone above him now, even though he was, what was he, 50 odd years of age or whatever he was. Didn't say a word to me, you know, just like sort of nodded or whatever and carried on, like, but you could see he was gutted. But I was training through the summer to get into school to challenge him. And that's what he created, really, and it's
Exactly.
certainly in me anyway.
Yeah,
And
well, I'm
that
sure
was
you created
thankful
that
for.
as well.
Yeah.
Give you that grounding.
And it's a shame, you know, we don't have people like that, you know, around.
That's right.
as well.
That's something I don't acknowledge about. And I you know, with the schools, I'm a bit, you know, naive really with what's going on in colleges I'm involved in. But you know, it seems to be missing. And I think a lot of things like we'll talk about perhaps as we go along in Welsh Rugby at the minute, we need to solve a lot of problems. I mean, that's gone from.
So
back then.
You said obviously the schools with the teachers taking school. Is it rugby in the family? Is it your dad play rugby? Did you watch your dad play? Or
No,
is it...
my father didn't play any rugby. My grandfather played football. He was a good footballer.
Yeah.
But that's about it, really. You know, them two were my biggest supporters growing up. You know, my father didn't really push me at anything. He was always there to support.
Yeah.
You know, took me everywhere. Clean my boots, clean my washing. You know, whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Was standing underneath the post on Christmas Day, kicking my balls back. You know, little things like that. And my grandfather as well. You know, I think. He come everywhere, you know, he supported me everywhere. I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I was only young, and you don't. So I think he come on to we went to Pontyouth went to Prague on a tour, and my grandfather was with us, you know. So that, you know, he just, wherever I went, he followed.
Oh,
You know?
that's brilliant.
And you know, I just can't wait to say thank you to him when I see him again.
God bless.
So obviously went through school. So what age? Because Ponty was your first senior club, was it? What age did they sign you with Ponty?
Yeah, so I would. So obviously the progression back then was Ponty Youth.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of good years at Ponty Youth. You know, playing with Martin Williams, Cardiff Downs was my half-back partner. Kevin Morgan was there, you know, so good Ponty Youth side. Yeah, good side.
Was Michael Owen about then?
Michael's younger than me, so he's younger than me. So we had obviously good sort of couple of years with them, and then just naturally then just went into the Ponty game. I think my debut was maybe 18 and a half, and it was a European Cup game out in Leinster.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so it was a bit of something like that. I can't remember, it was young, and you know, I had an half decent game then, kicked a few kicks, made a few jinks, you know, and a few breaks, and still very raw at that age, but you know, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Carefree, or was you?
Oh yeah, I just you're playing on Wednesday night out in Dublin, so we went out there. We only just lost a game, you know, against a strong Leinster team, but I thought then, you know, obviously this has been a build up to years and years of training, because I knew around about sort of 12 years old what I wanted to do, as in rugby wise, and just trained really hard to get to that level. So and I wanted to stay there.
So I was at the time. Was Jenks the?
Yeah, Jinx was there. So I had Jinx is someone I've looked up to, you know, coming up as a kid, and watched him, admired him, you know, seen his work ethic to get where he was. So it was always going to be me and him, him basically. So I knew I'd had a couple of games for Ponty, that Leinster game, and a couple of games throughout the season, but I had to make a decision then to move on, really, because I would have been stuck behind Jinx.
Well, on that note, like I said, you went on to Cardiff then, signed for Cardiff, and what I liked back then, which I think we miss in Wales now, and I remember, a couple of years back, remember James Hook went to France?
Yeah.
But at that time, Cardiff Blues were trying to sign him, but they ended up, because of the politics, they ended up signing Dan Parks, so we lost a Welsh fly after France.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a similar, obviously, exactly very similar to yourself and Neil, would have been rival tens playing for the local derbies, and we never got to see that because of politics, and he ended up going to France. Obviously, I imagine a bit of cash.
Yeah.
But
no, I was. I suppose advice, you know, I got from my old man as well, and we just sat down He said, listen, you're not going to play much rugby with Jinx, you're 19 years old. You need to go, go and get a starting position, really. And luckily then, sort of a few days later, Mark Wynne phoned me. So
right.
I just went down, and I didn't have an agent. I'd never had an agent or whatever. I just went down.
It was just an opportunity in those days,
yeah,
to play at that top level.
Signed then, so I left Ponty after sort of a first season of just playing a bit part, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Great club, some great characters there. And signed for Cardiff for 3 years.
Big question, right? Jenkins, right? Now, did you think you could have been as good as him, or you was as good as him, if given the opportunities maybe at international level, or playing at the, in the same environment?
No, listen, I had my strengths, and weaknesses the same as Jinx really, but he was a more all-round player in my opinion, and I love him and respect him. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was about 15 years old, this is the kind of man he is, mind you. Jinx was working in a shop called Just Rentals in town, which was the main sponsor of Ponty. So I was only about 15 years old, and Neil hadn't met me then, so I think he heard about me maybe coming up and a bit of a kicker or whatever. So I walked into Just Rentals, and Jinx was there, stood behind the counter, and I asked him if I could go kicking with him. Now bear in mind, he've most probably heard of me, but not really met me.
And at the height of his career then, obviously, he's playing for Wales.
He was playing for Wales on the Saturday.
So he's in the thick of it.
So a 15-year-old kid comes in me, asking can I go kicking, because I heard and I see him once or twice over Lantern Vadra. He used to kick over there every day. Yeah. And without any hesitation, he said, yeah, I'll come and pick you up tomorrow. And I was a bit shocked. I was expecting to go, well, yeah, let me have a look at my schedule or whatever. But anyway, goes home straight away. Dad, get my stuff ready. I'm kicking with Neil Jenkins tomorrow. And you can imagine he just laughed. He went, yeah, all right then. So, and true to his word, up at 3 the following day. Down the road he comes in Ridwell, picks me up. We go over the Rantwit, kicking back and 4. Bear in mind he's playing for Wales on Saturday.
That must have been
and then I'm kicking at goal, and Jinx is underneath the post waiting for my kicks to come over. And I'll never forget that, what he'd done, and I think that's special, and it just goes to show. I
think a measure of the man. I was lucky enough to meet him and be around him a couple of times, and he's such a wonderful guy. And to have him gone to Lions tours, and it's all what he deserves. What's he doing now?
He's still with the union, he's still doing more sort of individual stuff during the week. So, and we all, as I say, I admired him so much, especially for what he'd done with it. But we had some good battles over the years.
And it's funny, really.
When he was with Ponty, and with Cardiff.
Funny, you went through your career, to meet him at that age, and then obviously play together. Because I was Ponty at 19, and you was coming through then, and they were saying that you were the next Neil Jenkins, and it's magical, really, isn't it? Fabulous the career you've had. So
also back to your career. So you lucky enough to play with the
Barbarians, yeah.
Was that when you were with Ponty, or was that when you signed for Cardiff?
Well, this is another funny story. So basically, we talked about that Leinster game. So again, I was only 18 and a half, maybe 19. And then towards the end of that season, I'd known I'd signed for Cardiff. I think it was maybe April time. I had a phone call off someone. I think it was Mickey Steele-Bodger, who's obviously passed now, but he was the main man in the Barbarians. Would you like to come out to Ireland? We're playing against Ireland. And I was like, I thought it was a wind-up. So anyway, cut the long story short, no problem, chuffed as beans. I think that it was towards the end of the season, so the season was over. Gets on a flight on my own, gets out. I didn't even know who was out there.
Incredible.
I didn't even know who was playing. I know it was for, I think it was for a
a
memorial match.
On those days,
so I was 19, right?
Sorry,
So I walked into the hotel now. As I said, didn't know who was out there, who was playing.
How old
I was 19.
19, sorry.
Something like that, 18, 19. So I walked in now, right?
Fabulous.
Philippe Sella, Laurent Caban, Team Richards is there, a couple of New Zealanders, Eric Rush, Underwoods are there, de Ganville. It was just, and bear in mind I had watched all these players now for the last maybe 5 to 10 years, idolising them, right? And I was just like, I still got the programming out. I even had all his signatures.
That's superb.
So I was just smiling all weekend. I couldn't believe it. Played the game, whatever. Sorry. So when I arrived at the hotel, all these boys, we had all our kit or whatever, and they had this ice and easy strap on their knee. It was a David Campese, Ice and Easy, and Campese, I was like, oh God, what a legend he is, And I said, oh, where's mine? And they said, oh, it's all gone. But he's upstairs, go and get one. So I said, you what? Campese was upstairs, right in his room.
Yeah.
So I was shaking out going up because I didn't know he was there. I mean, Campo then was an absolute legend when he
well, like on.
So I knocked on the door, the door was open, but I still knocked, and he's just reading the paper. I said, hi, I'm with the Barbarians. I said, can I have one of your Ice and Easies, please? And he'd give it to me. He didn't play that weekend, he was there as a face. But,
he was
to play with, Philippe Sella, and I come off the bench, I did. I think they put me on the wing, but I didn't care where they put me.
Yeah, I bet
I think I scored a try in the corner, last try of the game. Sella passed with the ball. I still got the jersey in the house, and I'm going to frame it.
But, so Barbars, you played. How many games?
So I had the one game with Barbie there, and then after that, then we went on a tour to Japan, that was a great tour. Some great.
Was anybody on tour with you that you had good times with?
Yeah, we had a good crack. I mean, me and Andy Robinson come to blows one night. I say blows. He was a bit of a friendly scuffle. He was so. I was rooming with the England winger John Slightome.
Oh, aye.
One morning he said, "Oh, when we going on the bus now, Jarvis," he said, "give Robbo, everyone calls him Robbo, call him Andrew." And I said, "Oh, why is that?" Like, "Oh, just call him Andrew." Anyway.
Tucked him up.
Yes, he did. So we were on the bus playing cards to the game, and he says, "Go." I said, "Come on, Andrew, you'll go." Like a little chirpy youngster I was, and his face dropped, and he was like, he's going to do something about it. And he just said, "Don't you ever call me Andrew. Only my mother calls me Andrew." I said, "Okay, sorry, Robbo, I won't do that again." So anyway, played a game against, it was in New Zealand Select, and they had like Adrian Cashmore,
he was
tough,
Yeah.
And it was tough because you were having a few beers, through the week.
Right,
played the game. Fast forward about 6 hours later, there we were in a bar in Japan. Had a few beers, I was a little bit drunk, everyone was drunk, and we were playing darts, and it was Robbo's go, and he's throwing the darts, and me, So I'm at the back, there's a few players behind me, and I shouted, "Go on, Andrew!" So he sort of stopped mid-throw, and then he comes over then, and the sort of players were parting, and he was just coming towards me, like, Andy Robinson was, a fiery character.
Yeah.
When you watch him play, and he was a froth coming from his mouth, one of those. So as he was coming towards me, I sort of held his hands, because I thought I didn't want him to do anything, but he sort of flicked out, and he caught me on my nose, and it was bleeding. So I just reaction there, we had a bit of a scuffle, and that was it.
Brilliant.
He had a couple of stitches in his lip. I had a bit of a cut by there, but it was just drink, and I was just pissing about.
Yeah.
But it was a great,
touring for the Barbers.
It was touring, and it was fantastic, and I don't think I played for the Barbers after that. But
well, what experience?
Great experience, and out there with Jason Leonard, Austin Ely, Andy Gomersall. Fantastic experience.
Oh, bloody hell,
yes,
nice.
yeah.
I bet.
So I wanted to talk about his Cardiff career,
I was just going to say, Cardiff, you had a lot of success with Cardiff. Were you your best point scorer in Cardiff?
Yeah.
With 500
I had a couple. I think it was the second year I was here, but it was a great team. Half back partners, Rob Howley, Rob Jones, and you couldn't wish for more.
Bloody hell.
Robert Jones was in Cardiff, is he?
He came, I think, the second, third year. Yeah.
Good God, I didn't know he went there.
So again, seen Robert's career for Wales as a youngster and then playing with him.
Yeah.
And then obviously one of my idols, Jiffy, was here as well. So it was fantastic. Up front then, John Humphries was there. We signed a guy called Greg Cackler.
Yeah, I remember him.
What a player, what a man, right?
Wasn't he?
Fierce, a Heavy Taylor.
Just an engine on him, wasn't
Yeah, Heavy Taylor. So some great 3 years there. Coach Terry Holmes was coaching. Alec Evans was there for the first year, the Australian coach. Some great memories, some big games.
Won the Swallow Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, won the Swallow Cup '97. That was the last game on the Old Arms Park. So before they knocked it down to become the Millennium or Principality.
There's two I want to ask you about. Bath.
Yeah.
on the Arms Park.
Yeah.
And Toulouse. Was you involved in the Toulouse European Cup?
Toulouse, no, the final.
Yeah, what year was that?
I signed after that.
Right, you missed it.
Yeah.
But the Bath game, I think, was one of the biggest.
It was big for me as well, because obviously it was a full house down here. I think I was 97, was it 98? Anyway, and I was on the bench. Jiffy was 10. Obviously, that's that game where he runs across field and puts Nigel in. He steps a few times.
He does.
Goes under the corner. But it was nip and tuck, and then there was a tackle, and one of the boys' Bath boots, flips over and conks Justin Thomas on the nose and just splits his nose. So I get the call in. So I mean, I think I come on as fullback. So in my head now, it was sort of 20 minutes gone. I knew what to do. It was like one of those games. Listen, just keep the ball in front of the forwards. It was wet. It was horrible. Give them the ball to make mistakes, and we had a back row that could make them make mistakes, and it was just about harassing them. And a couple of spiral kicks, sort of 50-60 yards, so we were always in their half.
Superb.
Yeah, and then I had 2 kicks into.
I remember the one.
Yeah, so it was.
Was the one kick to win the game, or
no? We were sort of a little bit in front, but there was one kick from the halfway line where it went over, and then there was another one then sort of 50, sort of on the 5-yard line, or 40 out. So they're both huge kicks in the context of the game. But the atmosphere, I still remember that day now.
I remember them spilling over the boards.
Yeah.
You know when people squeeze against the boards, there aren't many people in there, and the weather was just a perfect day for a good hostile game of rugby.
It was a great game of rugby, brutal. The crowd made it. You look at the Bath side, it was just incredible. Jason Robinson, Henry Paul, the Glanville, it was just stacked full
Superb.
Stacked
International.
That's
international.
And he was
international.
He was close to international, you could get, but great game.
Superb.
The 97 Cup final, Swansea, again it was another miserable day. The stadium was half down, but memories that sort of we keep there. Tough old game. Swansea were a good side. I used to hate playing against Swansea back then, where the back row was just horrible. Alan Reynolds, Stuart Davis, Rob Appleyard. Great guys off the pitch, but horrible.
Was Gibbs in the centre?
Gibbs, he was
so
in the centre.
So you got him running down your channel?
Yeah, yours.
Move over.
Yeah, move over. Him and Taylor in the centre.
Yeah, Christ, I forgot about Taylor.
Again, it was just one of the... It wasn't a game we would throw about a little bit. But saying that, Nigel's try come from a turnover, and I just seen him I could see him go wide, so threw a long pass, and then he scored in the corner.
In terms of rugby clubs and rugby career, rugby matches, at the top level, what was the toughest then? The toughest, Neath were the toughest games. What was the toughest games for you?
I'd say Swan.
It was down in St Helens.
Yeah, it was just because you generally play down here, and the wind was coming over the top of the fence, and as you say, you'd have Gibbsy running at you, and you'd have the back row just wanted to just do all sorts the whole game.
Yeah,
and it was just it was obviously going away in the European Cup game to the French sides where they were they were thugs then back then. Yeah. I think one about noise of the crowd. You walk through the cage to go out onto the pitch, and he's spitting at you and doing all sorts of, and he was brutal, and you're no surprised what happened to Pontypridd and Brive. It was similar sort of setup. So that
you weren't involved then, did you?
No,
you got involved.
Cardiff.
I was with Pont. I think I was with Ponty, but I was one involved in the squad.
Right.
I think so. I'll have to go back to that, but.
And you played against some opponents, those you've just named a few.
I think when people always say that, you don't really look at the outs of that, because they're not. You're looking at your back rowers or your centres. The back rowers like Stuart Davis, the Swansea back row at the time.
When you say that,
I knew one who was a nuisance as well. I mean, there was loads out in France as well.
Denver boy,
but it just back then, you know, the back rows would at you. They would ask you, you know.
Well,
or you'd have a big centre like Gibbsy or someone else running down the channel. So it was tough old times, but, you know, I wouldn't change it for the world.
No. Taking it back to then to what it is now.
Biggest character?
Oh, God.
And I bet you back then some few characters.
Well, if you look at
many.
I think the Ponty side, sort of the first year I was in, you know, Phil John, you know, obviously Chief was there, Bazzani.
You never played with Nigel Meek?
Did I play with Meek? I think.
You know, obviously
I think I
Nigel's
may
a
have played one Wales A game with him, not
yeah.
sure.
He was one of the characters of life, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Tremendous bloke
Yeah.
to be around.